Okay, what is this? My Town in Transition. Rob Hopkins at TED Exeter. Wow. Sounds prestigious. All because it's raised to the X power. Wow.
Hello. I want to tell you a story which pulls together a lot of what we've heard already and looks at what that might look like in the context of one place. And it's a story which I think can change the world.
Basically, I'm just going to tell you something that can go along with this other mash that you've mashed into.
It's a story which already is changing the world.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the story of my town of Totnes in Devon, town of about 8,500 people, midway between Exeter and Plymouth. But before I can tell you the story I really want to tell you about Totnes, I have to get another one out of the way first.
Wow, Narnia. So he just created this straw man, okay? He's saying, wow, yes, before I show you what I'm going to show, which is probably really underwhelming, I have to say it's not Narnia. Right? Or somehow correlate this association to Narnia because you're going to say, yes, any person that talks about a utopia, is talking about Narnia. But no, my utopia is real and achievable. And just listen to me. Yes, I'm telling you the way to Narnia. The actual Narnia, but not this Narnia. Wow.
Totnes was once referred to as the capital of New Age chic. That's chic, not sheep. The idea of a
Oh, so funny, right? No.
capital of New Age sheep is too horrible
You are New Age. You are New Age. You are the what? The goat. You are the goat because that is your worshipful master. Yes.
to imagine. The Western Morning News, the local paper, in an article which I'll be coming back to later, once referred to the average resident of Totnes as a sandal-wearing, crystal-gazing soap carver subsisting entirely on brown rice and organic parsnips.
Wow. The only thing they're carving is their brain, lobotomizing down their kundalini. Out there, you guessed it. And what is going on? What is going on? Why did he just decide to just bash this concept? What are you doing?
And Matt Harvey, our local poet, says that when you've lived there too long, your body starts to secrete a hormone called totnesterone, where your male
This guy is a stand-up comedian. He's just so good, and the world loves him for it. Wow.
where your masculine and feminine come into perfect balance with each other.
Oh, what hilarity, right? But you know what? That's exactly what the New World religion is, and you don't even see it. He actually does, but he's softballing you into it. He's softballing you into it because he's like, no, forget that wish-wash. Believe my wish-wash because it's my town is resilient. My town is resilient because no, it couldn't be that life is relentless and it constantly bashes your thoughts of resilience. Yes, it does. The only thing that is just deceiving you to believing the bash of resilience is, guess what? The tickling of your ear that thinks you are above the people that you just somehow described as being, what? Somehow less than you. Or ridiculous, right? Wow.
But I think it's really important that we move beyond the stereotypes of the town into another story that's happening there, which I think is really, really important. Totnes has a much higher than the national average number of families depending on part-time work rather than full-time work, has 50% more families living.
Okay, he's like, so after I just bashed that, guys, I'm just going to smash you with stats now and just bash you even further.
Below £20,000 a year than the national average, very high house prices, and has seen most of its industry, most of its employment.
But, it would be actually the will of the Father if you just did it to guide these people into the right path. But no, you're using it to deceive them. Because, who would have thought that a father is here to guide his children into what? Righteousness. That's right. Because why would you lead your child into perdition? What are you talking about? Yes, that's right.
shut down over the last 15, 20 years, the bacon factory, the milk factory, the art college, to a point where local businessman and historian Walter King talks about what we're seeing is the long, slow death of Totnes as a living word.
The long, slow death. So, guys, that's why he's just saying, guys, is that the Titanic? He's instilling in you, is that the Titanic? No, the Titanic is this. And you are in it.
Working town, gathering pace. And it's that story, that context that I really want to talk about. My role in this, I suppose, started in 2005 when a friend and myself started showing some films about peak oil.
Exactly. Why don't you just blast it? He can't wait to say transition town, or maybe he doesn't want to associate with it. Because it was the boots on the ground training of the masses to just go and then be people in this audience to listen to what he has to say. Wow.
About the idea that we are reaching the end of the age of cheap energy and all that has made possible. We're entering a time of increasingly volatile energy prices, and that what we...
Brazilian towns, transition towns, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's right, for him, it's all about the transformation to what? Nobody knows. It could be anything. It's so relative. You just transform and metamorphosize and just do it all the time. You're the caterpillar that's a butterfly, and you're just butterflying everywhere and causing butterfly reflex everywhere. You're the one. Yes, 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 yes. Wow. It couldn't possibly be that the dismay and disarray and the fragmenting of light and it's bouncing and reflecting, and just, blah, 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 it's blinding you. No, it couldn't be that. No, it could not be that because your third eye is telling you otherwise, right? Yes, every time the third eye talks to you with its apparent vision, it's telling you to blast further into the place, into the multiplexes of X's verses. Yes. Wow.
We need to do with focus, determination, optimism, and a sense of possibility is design the way that we're going to get away from that. Same in terms of address.
It couldn't be about forgiving. It couldn't be about forgiving. No, it could definitely not be that. This person could. It could not be about that because what? It's not about forgiving yourself. It's not about empowering yourself. It's about humbling yourself. Yes.
Addressing climate change. It's
humbling yourself out of the oblivion back to the Father. Yes.
The very first talk that I gave in the town, and it's a story that has started to really kind of build from that point because ultimately there is no cavalry coming to the rescue of...
Exactly. There is no cavalry. So therefore, we just must dig all the ditches we can, all together, holding hands. But wait, how can we do anything? We're holding hands. That's right. That is the lie.
Places like Totnes, of most places where you live, the current economic situation, these kind of issues around peak oil and climate change. What we really need to do,
right, because the cavalry looks like this, guys. Right? Of course it does. This guy's still talking about horses and all this stuff, but no, if scriptures talk about horses, wow, he'll say to you, wow, you believe about horses flying everywhere and just stashing and smashing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I would argue is to harness, engage the collective genius of the people around us. And
it's all about harvesting. It's all about harvesting. Harvesting that which you can smash and abuse and just filter and distill and just extract the living life out of it. And then pour it into your sweet gullet where you can live forever and ever and ever in the mash, in the mash, in the mash, in the mash. More mash, more mash, more mash for the kids. More mash, more mash.
Focus on these challenges, seeing them as an enormous opportunity to be more brilliant than we've ever been, to do something which is really, really historic.
Exactly. The obliteration of the what? He won't say it.
What I want to do is to show you a very short little animation from the film that we've just released called In Transition 2.0, which hopefully captures rather creatively how transition approaches making change happen on the ground.
Right, so watch his film because it'll just blow you away.
You can think of the economy of the place that you live as being like a big bucket.
Oh, here we go. A bucket list. So guys, get ready to fill it with as much mash as you can.
And into that bucket go pensions, wages, grants, and so on.
That looks like poison. That looks like a bucket. It's a biohazard, guys. Look, it's spilling toxic pink whatever.
But at the moment, things like supermarkets, paying our
Oh, the drill of the third eye. Exactly. He could not wait to put this in. He could not wait to put it in.
electricity bills, internet shopping are all drilling holes into that bucket.
Oh, he couldn't be telling you more of the truth. It is. Look, he's telling you the truth, but look, presenting it to you as a lie. What is this? This is you beating the living life out of you. Yes.
That means that our accumulated wealth and its potential are just draining away.
Wow.
And everywhere that
So what you're going to do is just, put another bucket under it that you magically created in somewhere and just put it under here, just devastatingly trying to capture it and just put it back into here, put it back into here. It's like going to the ocean and dumping water that you took from your toilet and dumping it in the ocean and say you are... What are you doing? Or taking water from the ocean out and putting it where? Dumping it in your toilet and saying that's how you're going to stop the water levels from rising. Are you obliterated? Yes. Totally obliterated.
there's a leak in that bucket is a potential local livelihood, potential local business, or training opportunity for young people. So things like supporting community energy companies, supporting local food where it's...
Oh, see, because then putting that blast money into the hole just fixes everything. Yes. It could not be that it's about abandoning the bucket and returning to this. What is this? It's just flowing, constantly flowing.
It's available and boosting that where it isn't.
Wow.
And using local currencies are all very skillful ways of plugging the leaks in that.
Oh, and then you decide to stop pouring. And then all of a sudden you just decide to stop pouring and then just hold that and make it stagnant into a stagnant just, what is this? Life flows and relentlessly gives. It always is. Come on, what are you talking about? This isn't relentlessly given. It's just in a bucket. And you just plug the holes with something, labels that say food and local. Just blast that word local because now everybody's local and loca. What is everybody? What is everybody? They've drowned in this bucket and they're standing in it, yet they're still drowning in it. Wow.
That bucket. So from quite early on of doing Transition Town Totnes, as it started to be known, we had a big event called the Unleashing, which was our launch of...
Exactly, because that's probably where this, Transition Town movement started, and it just blasted everywhere and just, metastasized everywhere.
Event. And then very quickly, projects started going. People were excited, they were inspired, they wanted to see things happen where they were.
Because it could not possibly be that all these people that joined this saw the folly in the world, but no. They were misled to then go and reorganize their living room and create a new living room where they think they are right. Wow.
There were projects like the nut tree planting scheme where we wanted to plant productive trees throughout the town. There are now 250 planted, looked after by people who are close to them. A lot of local businesses pay to have them...
because it's anything but the way, right? Anything but Christ, anything but love and life and the truth, anything but that. But I will use those words, and this person will use those words as he will tell you, and just bash you with them.
Planted, and we had our first harvests of almonds from a park in town.
Wow.
Last autumn. The Totnes Pound local...
Who gives a damn that you grew something that already does it relentlessly?
Currency scheme specifically designed not to fit out through those holes in the bucket, because if you take them anywhere else, they're not worth anything. You can't use local currency. You can't put it in offshore banking accounts. They're not very useful on the Cayman Islands. A local food directory so people can identify.
Guys, you're in the darkness, and look, of course, exit, abandon ship, return to the Father, because this ship is worthless.
And support local food businesses. A co-housing group looking to build affordable co-housing for people as part of a local development.
This ship couldn't save you from anything. It's just further bashing you into the flesh harder than you ever knew possible.
Awareness raising things like open eco homes, open edible gardens where people can...
Exactly, all this mash word that means nothing. It means nothing if you have not humbled yourself. What is this? Humble yourself. It doesn't mean be grateful for what you have and all what these bash people will love you for and just praise you for. No.
Go and visit other people's places where they're already doing that stuff and learn from it. The garden share scheme, where people who have a garden that they're too elderly or too busy to use are matched up with people who want to grow food and don't have anywhere to grow it.
So you just give mashed up tasks to mashed up people, and now they feel like they're doing something. Wow. And this is nothing. This is nothing because you have done nothing for them. You have just told them to follow other carrots that are tied to a string over a being held over their head with a stick, and they're trying to try and chase it and chase the dragon for eternity and eternity. Wow.
And that's been going really, really well.
It's been going, the programming has been going really, really, we've been getting really good response, guys. Yes.
In 2009, when this had been going for about 3 years, we did a survey and we found that 75% of people in the town had heard of what we were doing, 62% of people agreed with it, thought it was a good idea, and about 33% of people had had some kind of engagement with it at some
30, he couldn't wait. 33%, meaning the 33 degrees were involved in it somehow, but he won't tell you.
point. But stories started to reach us of how it was being picked up in other places. And my favorite was the daughter of a woman who's very active in the local churches, went on holiday to Canada on a canoeing holiday. She was out in the middle of one of the Great Lakes, canoeing along, middle of nowhere,
Yes,
sees another
canoeing,
canoe,
just
thinks,
canoeing.
I'll be sociable.
Because that's what you do
I'll
when you
paddle
canoe,
over and
just
say
do
hello.
this, yes.
Paddles over, gets chatting. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Totnes in Devon. Oh, transition town Totnes. And it's amazing how
Oh, he just dropped it. He said, oh, good old transition town, Totnes. Wow.
that story has rippled out. But very quickly we needed to put some foundations under this. This was something that was starting to grow very, very quickly, and a lot of interest both within the place and from outside, people coming along and saying, what do you do? What are you doing? How does that work? So
Exactly. What are you doing?
Transition Town Totnes was set up as
And this person will say, I'm doing everything that you don't. You're just sitting there and you're doing nothing. You're just spiritual music and smashing and smash. What are you talking about? You are the one doing it. You are the one smashing and smashing and smashing.
an organization to offer project support.
Because, of course, it's all about this person is just smashing to the. It's all about digging ditches. Guys, it's all about digging ditches and paving the way to space. Yes, it's all about that. Yes, you must think of the children. But he won't tell you why. And he won't actually recognize what's going on in around him everywhere. Everywhere. He's not gonna admit what's going on everywhere. No, he just wants to be resilient and just blast. What is he talking about? Resilience to what exactly? Peak oil? Peak oil? What are you talking about? Devastation to the obliterated mind? No. But no, you're going to do skills and you're going to sit across each other and stare into each other's blazed eyes and then say, wow, this is what brings people to... Who knew that looking into somebody's eyes is powerful? Who knew? What are you talking about?
It's a do-ocracy. The people who make the decisions are the people who are doing stuff. It employs 1.5 posts at the moment and has brought, we reckon, about £1 million into the town.
So, guys, again, just bashing you with numbers and smash and cash and smash. And it's just saying, look how it's all stacking up, guys. See, it's working. Wow.
Over the last 5 years. And has rapidly become one of the sort of...
Who gives a damn if it's stacking cash? Who gives a damn if it's getting acceptance and love around the world? Who gives a damn if it's not based in truth? It's nothing. But of course, this person believes in relative truth. Yes, relative truth just that comes out somehow out of each batch person and somehow makes some collective truth that you can just amalgamate and just liquefy into your brain and drink and recycle and repurify and just bash, in, out, relentlessly, in, out, friction, conflict, problem resolved, cannot compute, just blast your resilient brain into the next multiverse.
Pillars locally of local culture, I think. And when we started doing...
Because it couldn't be possibly, it's all, who gives a damn about the town? Who gives a damn about any of the inhabitants of the fleshly carvings of the, of the matter of the blocks that you're building? You're in some block world that you're just blocking yourself inside of. What are you doing? What are you doing? And you're calling it resilient just because it somehow doesn't depend on oil. What are you talking? What is oil? What is oil? Exactly. You have no batch clue. You have no batch clue, but you see clues everywhere. Clues are everywhere. Clues. Clueless. This person right here, completely clueless. probably asleep. And what is going on here?
Doing transition, I always imagined it was an environmental thing. Really, more and more
Okay, these shots are very they're just very revealing.
I see it as being a cultural thing. How do you change the story of the place?
I mean, because it's like, wow, all these people just gathered and wow, yes, local, community. All these people are bankrupt morally. Look, they don't even know what morality is. They will tell you their version of morality, and this person will tell you something completely different. Wow, this totally depicts the splitting of the light. Wow, the splitting of the light that has deceived everyone into thinking about themselves only. Wow.
That's where you are.
But then again, they'll tell you, no, it's about community and the future. So you must hold hands and just blast yourself into the oblivion. Yes. Transition in action, because this person lost an arm, but no, he's going to grow it back because that's how resilient he is. Wow.
And within that, there's a whole process of, we can start lots of different projects, but what does it look like if we start to see them all together? If we can create
Exactly. How do you connect the dots? But oh no, you're not going to tell people to not. You're going to tell them how not to connect the dots, even though you just said, how do we connect the dots? Let's take a listen.
a vision, if we can create a story that the people in the place can start to resonate.
Oh, there he could not wait to tell a story that the people will buy into and just do it for no reason. So then if somebody comes up and asks them, why are you doing this? They're like, I don't have a clue. I'm just doing it because I'm supposed to do it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and who gives a damn? Exactly. Because they just believe the feeling of the story. They believe the feeling of the story, and they don't give a damn what it means, as long as it makes them feel good and have a place in their dash bash life. What are you talking about? Know your place in life. The end. That is the purpose, not creating some place where you can just resiliently go in, day out, Groundhog Day, just bashing, feeling more good about yourself for nothing, for just exposing the life further and further to dismay. But of course, that is everything that comes to pass must be. And so look, this is a person that is just confused.
With it starts to make sense. And we've done two things that have been really strategic pieces around design. One of them was the Energy Descent Action Plan, which you can find online, which involved many hundreds of people in trying to tell a vision of what the place could be like.
Exactly. So you just mash up 100 people and then just blast and just lock yourselves in a room for weeks and weeks until you come out with a master plan, because it's so democratic, and you just blast and look into the other person's eyes for just, you make a circle and you just blast each other and look each other in your eyes until the abyss responds back and tells you, everyone, what to accept. And yes, this word, I like it. No, this, blah, 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 smash.
If we take peak oil, climate change, our economic situation as a huge opportunity to be brilliant. And then the other one is...
Exactly. He couldn't wait to tell you. If we use this crisis to, what? Become more prideful. Yes. Become more prideful.
Is called the economic blueprint that we're doing at the moment, which is actually now the local council's economic blueprint. What's exciting with that is that for the first time that I'm aware of is starting to map the potential of the local economy. What passes through it, and how could we start to cycle that more locally if we can start to plug some of the leaks?
Wow.
So one of the initial findings, for example, is every year the area spends £30 million on food. 20 million of that goes out through just 2 supermarkets. If we could start to shift just 10% of that spend to local food, we've brought £2 million into our local economy.
Right, guys. So as long as you can just, beg for scraps, it can do wonders for your bash resilient town. What are you talking about?
We haven't had to get government grants, and we haven't had to...
See, we just got to make everyone like what we're doing and leave us alone. What are you talking about?
Invite big companies in. We've got £2 million in our economy for creating skills, trainings, new livelihoods.
Don't you realize that the government will only fund something that it's in its best interest? Why would creating resilient towns be in the government's best interest unless it's part of the transition of the whole body of the government, meaning the whole brainwash, bash, think? It couldn't possibly be that. No, it couldn't.
New enterprises. That feels like, to me, like a really big, really important idea of our time. And one of the projects we did from a couple of years ago, which I think
it couldn't be that instead of telling everyone, yes, humble yourself, repent, the ways of the world are folly, and you have succumbed to them. Overcome. Forgive your enemy. Love your enemy. And return to the Father. That instills and fills you with what? You guessed it, the wisdom of the Father. Yes. And what does that do? Wow. That actually is undefeated. The wisdom of the Father is undefeated. Okay? So this mash can't even fathom what that even means. Wow.
It's really, really interesting. This is us after starting an organization focused on community responses to peak oil and climate change. Is this thing called...
Exactly, because everyone else will tell you, guys, look, there's a hole and it's leaking. There's a hole and it's leaking. Let's plug it up real quick. Just do it. I don't care. Just do it. Get to action. A call to arms. Just do it. Because no, it's not even worth talking about. What hole? What leaking? What is leaking? What are you talking about? Because it's not worth. It's just do the action. Just do. Just anything else is impossibly, even more relevant to action. Because isn't the cause, according to your bash brain, the cause of everything isn't the Big Bang. So, wow, don't you have to go to the cause to know why it is the way it is? Wow, what is going through your bash brain?
Transition streets. Transition streets is based on the idea that maybe change sticks better if you get together with your neighbors, and it works on a street by street level. So you get out on your...
Doesn't change stick better when you just hold your neighbor's hand? Guys, doesn't change just stick better, or is it just all about feeling and mashing? Because no, it couldn't possibly be that everybody has no idea what a neighbor means. It's just somebody that lives across them. Nobody knows a damn about, and you could be living in a semi-home or some sort of, where you walk outside your door and your neighbor is right there, yet you don't know what a neighbor is. What are you talking about?
In your street, you knock on the doors, you get between 6 and 10 households together, and you agree to meet 7 times in each other's houses. You look at water one week, you look at energy another week, you look at food.
So they just bash even more. Okay, so it couldn't possibly be that, wow, if people got together and shared, thoughts and just, yes, if this person is just saying, guys, get a bunch of circle jerk people that will say yes to everything, get them to get together with them and just mash and have a blast. Wow. And he calls it that democracy because you're including everyone of all ages from mash to mash. And look at this.
Another week, and you make pledges at the end of...
Because it couldn't possibly be that you can be alone or in a group or just surrounded by the swarm, yet you can still love. You can still love, and you can still forgive, and you can still know the truth if you recognize the way to the Father. And succumb to the Father's will. Absolutely. It's written in your heart. Accept it and have it beat the living life relentlessly through your life every time instead of you beating it out of you relentlessly. Oh.
Of each session about what you're going to do. And on average, each household that gets involved cuts their carbon by about 1.3 tons, saves themselves about £600. 500 households have done this now. That becomes a very significant reduction towards the town's emissions.
Who gives a damn if I save $1 or $1 million? If I'm just going to get bashed and more bashed with this bash think.
But when I meet people in the street who've done it, they don't say, oh, it's great, Rob, we did transition streets. We saved 1.3 tons of carbon. We're feeling really pleased with ourselves. So great. We really feel we're
And you're going to say, oh, why you're knocking this guy? You know, there's multiple roads to heaven. Wow, what a deception. What a desolate lie. What is this person talking about?
doing our bit. What they say is, it's great. I now know Sandra over the road, Dave over the road. You know, we're doing this. I didn't know he's such an interesting guy. He does this and he knows all of this and he's showing me how to do that.
And heaven isn't someplace in space. No, it is the return to the Father. That's what heaven is. Forever and ever. Glory, glory, yes. Amen. But this person does not know, okay? This person will just blast nothingness into his Britney Spears phone. Look, this is just smash. It's his hand cramping, and what is it doing? He has a seizure in his hand happening right now.
And all that social side of it is what comes to the fore. When we asked people in a report at the end that pulled together all the learnings from it, why did you get involved in Transition Streets? The key answer was because I wanted to know my neighbours better.
Wow. You got involved in this cult or whatever it is just because you wanted to get to know your neighbor. It couldn't possibly be that you can just do that and knock on your neighbor's door and say, hi, you want to come over for some whatever, tea, a talk, a walk? No. It could not possibly be that. No, it had to be driven by this cult. Yes.
And when we asked them, what were the key benefits you feel that you got out?
But even so, who gives a damn? You don't even need to go to your neighbor's house. You need to just love them. Love your neighbor. Love them. You know why? Because life is relentless and it abundantly gives all forever and ever. And you just have to stare and look into the grass and see that, wow, the ant is there, the grass is there, the earth is there, the bacteria, it's just a blast into oblivion, yes, but it's all there. And guess what? It all loves. It all loves. So love your neighbor. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
And we turned it into one of those.
Instead, you're going to think, you're going to take it and say, wow, love your neighbor means just going relentlessly there and harassing them and making them love you and making you feel like, they love me and I love them and it's so great. No. Love is unconditional. You have no bearing. This person is diddling or doodling or just making a mash cloud of no name, nothing. That's just going to smash his brain further into this fractal of octopuses. Yes.
Clever word cloud things.
Oh.
Community, neighbors, getting to know, climate change.
Of course, he's telling you what it is. Just a word smash of silver tonguing your ear into submission.
Even register, peak, tiny little word, bottom right-hand corner. Left-hand corner, I can't which.
See, top right corner, I can't really remember because it's just all a mash. Because the only thing that we really want you to do is to read community, neighbors. That's it. Community, neighbors, and this. Somehow it means all this other stuff too, but you can't even read it, so you don't even know. You're just confused. Blah. As long as you believe in this. Community, neighbors. That's all, guys. Why didn't they put local and just blast everything with local and everybody just applaud instantly?
Whichever way around, yeah. Which for me is really, really fascinating. That maybe in terms of making change happen, there's a different way of doing it, which is about something which...
Oh, is he going to talk about being renewed? Being born again? Is he going to talk of that being the so-called alternative way to just obliterate the lie? No, he's going to tell you something else.
And sort of viral and fun and contagious.
Viral and fun. This guy wants to be infected by viruses and have fun with it. Just be fun. Guys, have fun with it. He's going to say, guys, go out there and have fun with it. And just go and bash and make your community have fun with it. As long as they have fun with it, they will believe it.
In that way. I'm using lots of disease analogies.
Wow.
I'm not trying to. They seem to be coming to my mind quickest.
Disease. What is this guy talking about?
And what we
look at all these people. What are they? They love it. They love it so much, of course. And everybody's gonna say, "What's wrong with loving this?" Wow, it's because you want it to love you back. That's the lie, and that is the state of affairs. the affair that this person is having with this one, and this and then, and it's all a smash of polyamory of the hippie movement that just was so amazing because it liberated people. It just smashed them further into each other more relentlessly without any shame. Because no, it couldn't possibly be that was just a defiling of the holy union of life. No, it was just about accepting each other and wow, just smashing and gang banging and just polluting and just hallucinating and just wow, having sex with all these sorts of spirits and wow, the crystals and the smoke and all this stuff. It's so amazing, and these people love it. These people were old hippies. They were hippies at one point. Look, of course they were, and now they're all thinking they can transform somewhere into another butterfly. Yes.
Really focusing on now increasingly.
Because no, they believed some mash then, and now they live in some, prison, and now they look at this and they're like, wow, yes, remember the good old days. Let's do it again. Yes, ride the roller coaster of the cock. Yes, ride the cock carousel and let it defile me relentlessly forever and ever. Yes, yes, yes. Because I'm going to mistake the cock as the, creative aspect. No, the life is, you moron. Yes, the life is. The end, right? Period. But no, this person wants you to ride the cock carousel into oblivion. Yes.
It's about how do we make a new economy a reality in the town. If the cavalry aren't coming, how do we do that?
If the cavalry aren't coming, because the cavalry meaning the military that just devastates and just eats and devours. No, because the cavalry isn't coming. They're just out there bashing and killing who knows what, but they're definitely not going to come and save you from oil, which is what this person is saying. Amazing. And you know what? You know why they won't come and save you for it? Because they defend it. The cavalry defends it, yet you're defending it and trying to ask the same government that funds that cavalry to give you a piece of the pie so you can just bash, make a little cubby hole and just dig yourself, burrow into the ground, into the ditch, and tell yourself, wow, I'm so resilient. I did it all by myself. But no, you're going to bend it and say, no, we did it. Our community did it. Or it couldn't be that the brainwashed think did it. No, it couldn't be that. It couldn't possibly be that. Wow.
What does it look like if we start to put that in place? So things are now happening like the Totnes Renewable Energy Society, which now has 500 members and is about to put in for planning for 2 wind turbines on the edge of the town. Transition Tours, which is about turning the many people...
Oh, exactly. Here we go. It's all about the safari experience. Come to the resilient town and look at us in action. Look at us in action and look at us and take photos. And we are the animals that are relentlessly walking up and down the smashed window. And we're going to stand up and, clap with you and throw food at you. Yes, we are Cage, and we want you to see us, and we will tour and then exploit and expunge all the money from you, because that's all we really want, so that we can go and bash and make more ditches to the future. Yes. Wow.
People who come to Totnes to find out about transition, to put on a really good experience for them in such a way that also means we don't kind of drown in it. Transition Homes, which is a development looking to build 20 affordable houses, but using predominantly local material.
Okay, because this guy actually wants to say, he says, since the cavalry isn't coming, we just have to do all this mash. And he's just tripping and stumbling over, everything, the ditches that he's laid out for himself. But look, God promises you eternal life. And of course, that you, in your bash brain, you don't even need a cavalry then, for that matter. You just have to, what? You guessed it. Know it. Know it in your heart. Believe it with all your might, meaning with all the life that is the truth, the way, and the life. You have no clue. You've been blasted through your glasses and just refracted into nothing, into oblivion. What are you talking about? Wow.
Materials. Because in the same way that when we talk about food, localizing food brings more money cycling through our economy, exactly the same thing works for building materials. We're seeing businesses...
Because it's all about recycling, guys. Don't forget. It's all about recycling, because you guessed it, there's nothing new under the sun.
Emerge through the kind of culture that's being created of saying, we need new enterprise.
But of course, this guy will call it the water cycle and whatever nonsense, the decomposition cycle and all this nonsense. But no, it couldn't possibly be that life just constantly, just gives and gives and gives and gives and gives and gives. But no, you're going to think, oh, trauma happened to me, so therefore, life doesn't exist, and that's why I have to go out there and create it for me. Wow.
Prizes for this. Who's up for that? We recently held a thing called the Local Entrepreneurs Forum, where we brought together people with business ideas in the town, about 40 people who had great ideas for different enterprises.
Exactly. Ideas for enterprises. Not ideas of how to return to the Father. No, just ideas of how to escape the Father. And that's what excites people. It thrills people. It gives them thrills and tickles. And you just love loving yourself. It's amazing. Because you're so smart and you have so many accolades and certifications and diplomas up your yin-yang.
With local potential investors and mentors to really try and kickstart what this new economy could look.
Yeah, just kick it in the face and tell it to start. Yes, that's what you do. You kick it in the face and tell it to start.
Like. So we have a microbrewery project which is in the offing, a kitchen table which is really about catering, but trying to
all these mash words.
catalyze lots of other things around local food as well. So it's looking for businesses which have a...
Basically, he's just saying the new economy. The new economy is this, okay? And he has some bash thing to say further, but I don't even know what it is, but we'll get to it. But look, what is this? The kitchen table, the round table. Some sort of this, wants to associate it with some sort of grandurness, some sort of, wow, we're including everybody, and the kitchen is the, where we feed ourselves, so it's so amazing. Kitchen parties are so amazing, guys. I love kitchen parties and the music and stomp my foot and just get alcoholic plastic. Yeah, what is going on? Kitchen table. What are you talking about? Because it couldn't be about gathering around the word of God. No, it couldn't possibly be that's what it is, that you're here to gather and muster and just stand in the truth, which is the word of God, which is the life that you have and relentlessly are beating out of yourself. Wow.
A number of criteria, really, that they are about promoting local resilience, that they're low carbon, that they are not just purely for personal profit, that they are working within natural limits, promoting localization.
So just regulation, regulatory, regulator. What are you talking about? And all of a sudden it becomes regular. You just don't even know. It's just, that's what life is, bro. This guy's going to then tell his child that, guys, transition child, hey, that's what it is. That's what I've always known, so that's what it is. No, you're brain dead. Wow, you're just bashed and smashed. Wow.
And then they're about bringing assets into the local community. I'm really glad I remembered all 6 of those.
Oh, I'm really glad. Yes, because I didn't sit home and just bash you into my brain relentlessly until I just said it perfectly. Look, what is he talking about?
Because lots of people have talked about their anxiety things in advance. My anxiety dream before Ted was that De La Soul came round to my house to stay for the night. 80s rap trio.
Okay, De La Soul. Look it up and you'll know what he's talking about.
And I couldn't find enough bedding for them. And so the fact that I've remembered all of those is great.
Wow. That was just a bunch of mash.
I've got through that. I've broken through that barrier. That's fantastic.
Wow.
And when I was preparing this talk, I asked various people what were their highlights of being around this process for the last 5 or 6 years.
Exactly, because you have to go pull and just test the waters to see if it's working. If people are catching into the BS, you have to go there and make sure it's working, right? Yes, but you won't say that.
And said it was the event at the end of Transition Streets where we showed a film called Start Something Together, which you can find on YouTube, which documented that process. And all the people from all the different Transition Streets came together to the town hall and had a...
So basically it's just saying, guys, abandon the old ways of the oil world, meaning the old world, and then come forward with us with blissful, wishful, just bliss of hope. And then the X smashes you. Because, look, you went through the X, the multiplicity of just transverses, multiplexes of multiverses, and this person doesn't even know. This person doesn't even know what.
A big kind of celebration, and she said that she was almost moved to tears by the energy that had created.
Wow, she's moved to tears by the energy. Wow. It couldn't possibly be that she's crying because she knows the vileness of her ways. No, it couldn't possibly be that. What are you talking about?
Another friend of mine who we organised a hustings event in the run-up to the election where we invited all the local candidates.
Okay, so everybody recognized the vile of their ways, yet now they have presented this bash of a, idea, and they're like, okay, guys, it doesn't matter. Look, we've been wrong, but look, we can pave the way to space. Instead of saying, guys, we were wrong, this is nonsense. Abandon, think, return to the Father, and He will fill you with the wisdom of God. Yes, what are you talking about? What is this? You had to get 100 bashed multiples of numbers to even come up with an idea that would work, and now you have to relentlessly test to see if it's working. What is going on? Of course, because that's manipulation talking. That's manipulation talking. Because it couldn't possibly be that, once in the truth and walking with the Father and obeying and just relentlessly humbling yourself, because you know that the flesh is a purpose and you're here to overcome, and you have eternal life because the Spirit renews and makes anew and gives you a new heart and new mind and a new outset of what it is. What is wrong with you? Yes, of course, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just working and leading people to transition towns. Yes, that's all you're doing. Of course. Because it's all very just superficial. Look, he's going to say, what? What did I do? What did I do? I just went up there and stood up there and put up a bunch of MASH photos, and that's all I did, guys. Guys, that's all I did. I knew nothing. Please don't smash me. Wow. Sad. It's very sad.
And rather than just have them sit in there and answer questions, we talked about about the kind of economy we wanted to create for the place. And then I asked them, well, how are you going to support that? How are you going to help that come into being? My personal highlight.
Exactly. So they show them a bunch of bash photos of trauma, and then they say, huh? How do you feel? How are you going to respond? Huh? It's for the children. And then, wow, surprise, surprise, that person signed on. Wow.
Was this headline from the Western Morning News? Lead editorial, no less. Which contained this sentence. In an interesting...
Because anyone will follow any fleshly solution for the children, but no, they would not ever follow the only solution in the flesh that then gives relentlessly back to the children. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Twist to the climate change debate. Communities and individuals once seen as quaintly idiosyncratic for their way out views have now become mainstream and may yet provide some of the answers to the biggest questions we all face.
Oh, and with that, he thinks he smashed the world. Wow. No, the world just smashed so much more into you. Relentlessly pounding you. Pounding, up and down and in and out and in and out. Flossing the crevice of the trawled gutters that exist in this trash of a mind. And see, it took a little while for people to kind of boost, and there's probably somebody in the corner, kneeling down saying, clap, 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 please, please, please. No. The people just doing it out of their own volition, out of their own somehow resolve. But what is their resolve? No, they're confused. That's why they took them a little while. And even if they were blasted, it means that the programming is working perfectly, and they just do it immediately. Wow. He takes a little bow. He's like, yes, I know.
One day that a German guy came...
He's so proud. He's like, see, we have the solution. We know how to fix life. Wow.
About 2 years ago into the office at Transition Town Totnes, he said, I have come all the way from Germany to see the famous Transition Town Totnes, and you still have cars.
Wow. This guy's like, yeah, who would have thunk? Who would have thought? Who would have blasted that we can live, some other mashed up way and still have cars? Who would have thought? What are you talking about? Because obviously anyone who thinks about Narnia thinks about some sort of futuristic, plateauistic nothing, right? Or a horse. And they're like, no, we've already done the horse and buggy. F that. We'll just give me the futuristic nothingness, blah, blah, blah. So this guy is like, yeah, sorry, we haven't gotten there. So who would have thought I'm using a car? Wow. Big disappointment. But no, it just means that he's just still part of the world. Yes. He's just smashing and dining and dashing and dining and just doing all the filth. But of course it's not filth because it's just, oh, I'm I'm an ape and I just do ape things all the time and I do all sorts of animal things. It doesn't even matter. Wow.
Well, you might like to, temper your expectations just a little bit. But it's really interesting to reflect over the last 5 years about how this has spread.
How this is spread? Well, I'm just gonna make a really. I'm gonna put my bottom lip under my top, teeth line and just pretend like I have no clue and perhaps Smitherhands. Look, Smitherhands. This is young Smithers. Who gives a damn?
And the best kind of analogy that I can come up with is it's like mycorrhiza. So mycorrhiza are incredibly fine fungus that is actually one of the main things that gives forests their resilience, gives soils their resilience. If I had an inch cube of...
Because to this guy, everything is just resilience, right? It's not just life. To this guy, it's just all about resilience because, yes, every the tiniest, every little thing has always been resilient. And to him, it has been resilient to what? The original blast that he believes created him. Amazing.
Of mycorrhiza-rich soil here, it would contain 10 miles of mycorrhiza. And what it does is it's like a neural network.
And he's going to tell you that's how it spread. He's going to say, wow, we just went in, grassroots. We went full grassroots. And he's going to tell you that's how this is spreading. He's like, guys, we're so awesome that we just went full core, all core grassroots so that we could put the boots on the ground and totally devastate it. Wow.
Between all the different parts of it that enable it to spread excess nutrients around, communicate risk, communicate disease or threats to it and so on. It's extraordinary.
Exactly. Communicate. You said it, but you just slipped on and just moved on. What you're doing is spreading disease to the life that you have. It's not that it's a network of multiverse. What are you talking about? You either pollute, defile, or, you guessed it, return to the Father and admit your folly. Yes, but no. This guy's just going to click the next button, just smash. Wow.
And in a sense, transition is a bit like inoculating a community with something like that it runs. And so our German friend who came...
Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter because who cares if transition towns are going to make the actual sufferings of the world less. According to who? According to who? According to who? What are you talking about? Because that is not the point. The point is not to just, deflect the flesh in the sense of deflect flesh with flesh and just mash. No. Overcome the flesh.
He was looking for all the...
And ultimately, live life. The end. Because life just is and it continues forever and ever. But the bash think of just that, it's so sad when people quote unquote die because they're not animated to make me feel good about myself anymore. Wow.
The fruits.
No, it couldn't possibly be that. Wow. That is the illusion that when somebody dies, they die and then there's just a black abyss for nothing forever and ever. No. That's a process that happens when you relentlessly beat the living life out of you. And it doesn't matter if your physical flesh dies or not. That your living life could have been beat out of you long ago. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
But a lot of what it does is it runs under the surface. It fruits where you expect, but it also fruits where you don't expect. Research that we did showed that for example, when Transition Streets had only just started, it hadn't had any publicity or anything. We did a focus group completely on the other side of town. And the woman talked about the first...
So who does all this, right? Because think of this, okay? Think of grassroots, the people just, amalgamizing somehow just, arbitrarily. But no, there's always somebody there just amassing and exactly doing what he's doing. Telling, guys, do this, do that, you blah, blah, blah. Wow, no. Because that's man's knowledge. That's just crushing devastation. No man can tell another man what to do. Only the Father. Yes. And even you recognize that, because growing up, whether or not you had a father, I'm sure your father, and I'm just going to say you had a father for the argument's sake, but yes, your father, no, it couldn't possibly be that he told you to do, right? And that's the only person that you listened. Or did you listen to the world first? Wow. What are you talking about? This guy's mashed. Mashed up. Mashed up. Mashed up.
First place where we had a pilot going on and said, it's great over there. It's like the war. They're like a village. They have street parties and everything. You know, that actually that sense had started to percolate through. One local councillor I talked to said, the best thing Transition Town Totnes has done is bring people together. And
that's the only thing it's done. Bring people together, because you guessed it. People come together for all sorts of reasons, and they do, and they mash, and they mash, and they act, and then they go and cry in desolation. But no, for some reason, this type of bringing people together is somehow better.
And so but of course, if it had just been something that had happened in Totnes, that wouldn't really have been that much use. But actually what's happened is something that has germinated there, has spread and spread and spread. There are now transition initiatives in 34 countries, thousands of initiatives, places taking all of this in their own context, whether it be Brazil or Barcelona,
right? It doesn't
Bologna
matter.
Or
Exactly. He tells you it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that all these places are getting together and mashing, and local, and getting blasted and more. Of course, it doesn't matter. Because guess what? You continue to relentlessly beat the living life out of you and others. Yes. And the others are doing the same.
Brixton, and using it to create all kinds of their own banks, their own energy companies, their own food systems, and so on. It's an exhilarating thing to see and observe the spread of.
Wow.
And it's a story which is able...
It's just, we're just promoting do as thou wilt, though, the foundation has to be living by the resilient principles, right? And what are the resilient principles? No, you're not going to talk about that, and you never have. But of course, if people go to your, meetings and your conferences, weekend conferences or whatever, or your month bash conference, just polling, relentlessly testing, of course that's when they'll learn and just sit and listen to all the other people that are just as clueless as you speak and somehow come to some resolve. Wow. Because it couldn't possibly be that all those people are lost and confused and just want desperately the Father. But no, they're told that it's anything but the Father. Yes. Wow. What a shame.
To bring 300 people in the town out about 2 weeks ago, down onto the former derelict industrial site in the town for a big photograph to launch a campaign about bringing this site, which used to employ 163 people, back into community ownership, to develop it as a catalyst for a...
Right, so this is all a really meticulously, executed, plan, agenda, right? It wasn't grassroots at all. This person wants to make you believe that it was, right? Wow.
Transition economy for the town, what we call the Atmos project. It's a story which is really about a communities seeing community resilience as where their economic future lies. And Jay Tompt, who works with us, wrote a beautiful blog about it, which contained this...
okay, so he's going to use some other person's words, another man's words to come across and push this even more. Okay, let's check it out.
So I wanted to read to you. There is plenty to keep us and our children busy for a long time to come. The important thing is that we've begun. We know that we're the ones we've been waiting for, so we're just doing it. We don't need the cavalry. We're already here.
Wow. Okay, that's the whole Rainbow Warrior mentality, the whole we're here to smash, right? No. You're here to become dust because the purpose is flesh. And what does the flesh turn into? Dust. So the flesh is the opportunity and the purpose. For what? Reconciliation to the Father. Yes. Wow. What are you talking? This is amazing. This is so amazing. This person thinks that he can pave the way to space.
And
right? They're already the cavalry. They are the ones, wreaking the wrath. Not God. They are the ones wreaking the wrath all over the world. Just installing globalization, global think, amazing. Sustainability, international development, community. Just blast all those words and everybody will just love you. Yes, amazing. Because it couldn't possibly be that all these words in all their, spell glory and, enchanting glory are actually pointing to the truth, which he uses to deceive you. The truth, meaning there is the life, the way, and the truth, the way, and the life.
So this has really been a process.
Wow. So again, the wrath of the Calvary that he believes himself to be is the one that's going to save you. So you better come up and join up and be part of the Calvary to just bash everything in your way. Yes. Because then you will become rulers, and then you will get to say what is done on earth forever and ever. Yes, so saith man. So saith man for man. Yes. It couldn't possibly be that life speaks for man. Wow, the truth, the word of God is blasting through you every day, but you cease to listen. Wow. All because of the false promise of the world and how you can smash it into what you think you love. And you will then demand for it to love you back, because that's what your worshipful master demands of you. Because what? God just gives relentlessly and says, I am the way, the life, and the truth. And the only way back to me is through those very things. Wow. Wow. It couldn't possibly be that you're living this smashed way because you came into the world, right? Pristine. Life. Love is the waters of life. What are you talking about? Exactly. So love is just relentlessly there for you. Yet you say there is no love, and there's only love to be created by me and, received by another, and blah, smash, 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 smash. Wow. That's why we're where we're at, and that's why resilient towns seem so, enticing, because they provide, a band-aid solution for the symptoms of truth, right? The symptoms. But you take those symptoms and say, wow, how sad, how sad, how sad, how sad, how sad, how sad, how sad. Let's rise like a phoenix from the ashes and have enough that our bucket just stagnates because we plug the holes in it. No, we don't want the flow of life flowing through us relentlessly. Because no, we're just puncturing it and diverting it to split, smash places, and just making it fractal amongst itself, and just fragment and just refract and just reflect and go into the abyss forever and ever and ever and ever, because so saith man. Yes.
It's about ordinary people and a process that has dirt under its fingernails and is seeing the opportunities around this time. It's really, really exhilarating thing to be part of. And I just want to finish with one of my
because it's
quotes,
supposed to be exhilarating, right? Because it couldn't possibly be about recognition. It couldn't possibly be about knowing how to read the signs and the times, meaning, what are you doing? Where does your allegiance lie? Who is the enemy? Do you think it's multiple swarm, or do you think it's some person or some entity on earth that you have to go and smash? What is wrong with you? Of course, nothing is wrong with you. It's just mashed, right? Exactly.
which is from my children's favourite storybook, which is Comet in Moominland, written in 1946 by Tove Jansson. It was a funny little part, which I think captures what the essence of transition more than any academic paper on the subject I've ever heard or anything I've ever written about.
All right, let's take a listen.
It was a funny little path, winding here and there, dashing off in different directions, sometimes even tying a knot in itself from sheer joy. You don't get tired of a path like that, and I'm not sure that it doesn't get you home quicker in the end. Thank you.
Wow. What was the point of that? He's just saying it doesn't matter if you get smashed and just fragmented. It doesn't matter, because as long as it's thrilling and you love it, it doesn't matter. That's what he said. But let's take a listen again, just to, you know, give him the benefit of the doubt.
Even tying a knot in itself from I've ever heard, or anything I've ever written about it. It was a funny little path, winding here and there, dashing off in different directions.
So fragmenting, just split, just disoriented, completely confused.
Sometimes even tying a knot in itself.
Right, just completely just denying itself.
From sheer joy.
Oh, from sheer joy, exactly. You severed from joy.
You don't get tired of a path like that, and I'm not sure that it doesn't get you home quicker in the end.
You don't get tired of a path like that, and you're not sure if it takes you home any quicker. So what? Is that what you're saying the world is? You know, the path that you've veered, and somehow your way is the way. Somehow resilient towns are the way, right? What a shame. What a shame. Because the return to what? Return home. Exactly. Return to the Father. Wow. But no, you just want to remain in that state of repetition. That state of redundant just bashing and bashing over and over crimson and clover into your gullet that just splashes color and makes you believe all sorts of things. Amazing. I'll end it there.